It's 6 o'clock now. I call the meeting to order. If you'll please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and stay standing for the invocation. Don't see Pastor here, so we'll ask Joe to do our invocation.
John Adams said, "The longer I live, the more I read, the more patiently I think, and the more anxiously I inquire, but the less I seem to know." However, he also went on to say, "Do justly, love mercy, walk humbly with God. That is enough." Lord, help us tonight to do likewise, to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly. Please give us wisdom to make sound decisions for the good of our city, its employees and residents. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Michael, if you'll take the roll call, please.
All right, Councilman Marcos has asked to be excused. Councilman Blevins.
Here.
Councilman Schlack.
Present.
Councilman Valerius.
Here.
Councilman Lloyd.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Lally.
Here.
And Mayor McLeod.
Here.
We have a quorum, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Motion, Mayor.
Motion by Mr. Lally, seconded by Mr. Schlack. I heard multiple voices. It was like a chorus. Any corrections or changes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting of July 12th?
Motion, Mayor.
Motion by Mr. Valerius.
Support.
Supported by Mr. Blevins. Any corrections? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Now we move on to organizational business. We will hear from our city administrator.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, residents of Allen Park. Just a couple quick updates. For the street improvement program, yesterday, Hard Rock Concrete, that's the contractor on that project, poured 736 yards of concrete. There was approximately 73 concrete or cement mixer trucks on Rosedale Boulevard, and that was from Moore to Wick. That stretch of work was 21 feet wide and approximately 1,300 feet long. That is by far the biggest pour we've had here in the city of Allen Park in the last 7 years that we've been doing the concrete program. And figure out, when we usually talk lane miles, a lane mile being 12 feet wide and 5,200 feet long. So we were almost a third of a mile just in this pour alone. So when you add up the next side, you start realizing that $1 million lane mile is actually a little outdated now, because I think we're gonna be a little bit over that in reference there. So this Hard Rock is also the subcontractor, or doing their subcontractor doing their underground work is D'Angelo Brothers. They are now doing work on Park Avenue from Champaign to Angelique. That road, I posted last night, it is closed to through traffic. I had somebody tell me, "Oh, it's wide open." Drive through there today, and it was definitely closed because of the crews there. So in those areas around Park Avenue between Champaign and Angelique, and then Rosedale Wick area, please understand that they are under construction and there are workers in that area as well. We had one car flying through at the end of the afternoon yesterday, and fortunately we were able to slow him down, or he would have bottomed out. And you just can't keep flying through construction zones. So please be aware of those situations there. So concrete sectioning program is Savone Cement. They continue to do work on Wick Road at the Ruth Avenue intersection, and also from Lawrence Avenue intersection to Rosedale Boulevard. The intersections at Lawrence, Fox, Hubert, and Rose are all closed at this time. We kind of have a little challenge out there for people. If you live on that side of Wick Road, how do you get out to this side? It's exactly for our finance director, Amanda Works. We've put those challenges up there to see if she makes it. She does a good job. And then we throw stop signs in there as well, and she loves all that stuff. So, but that is another construction zone. So please, again, be aware of those areas. And there are construction workers. Those are our friends and family that need to go home at night. So make sure they are obeying obeying the speed limits and obeying the traffic areas and find alternate routes if you can. We do have the Festivities Commission is planning the 2022 Allen Park Street Fair on Friday, August 5th and Saturday, August 6th. That is next week. Looking forward to that. Hopefully we're going to have some really nice weather, great entertainment, and beverages are back this year, so that makes a number of people very happy. So we're happy about that as well. And then just want to congratulate Joshua Stewart, Water Department. He reaches 5 years with the city of Allen Park on August 7th. We're really happy to have Joshua with us. He's been a great addition to the Water Department for the last 5 years.
Thank you. May I have a motion to accept and file the report?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Valeris, seconded by Mr. Lloyd. Comments or questions? Matt and Dan. It was simultaneous. If there's no questions, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Now we come to public comments, and all we ask is that you provide your name and the street on which you live. Do not give your full address. You're limited to 4 minutes, and just be courteous. We're open for public comments.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Andrew Graves. I grew up on Herrick Street in Allen Park. I reside in Trenton right now. So I am Andrew Graves. I'm the new Allen Park High School hockey coach. The reason why I'm here today is we're having extreme difficulty scheduling reasonable ice times at the Allen Park Community Center. We feel that we did not get a fair chance or opportunity, nor any priority over other private skates at the Allen Park Community Schedule, or at the Allen Park Community Center when it came to scheduling. We've been back and forth with Parks and Rec Director. We came up with an alternative schedule. We went through day by day his schedule, and we feel like we compromised with the schedule we sent them, and it came down to about 11 to 12 conflicts in the course over 5 months. It's not our dream schedule, and yeah, I mean, it was not entertained. Okay, so we sent it and it was not entertained. We need help with this issue. Reason being is we have, midweek games on Wednesday, and right now we do not have any practices on Mondays and Tuesdays because of the availability at the rink. So that's a big concern for us because every hockey team that I've been involved with, you skate the day before a hockey game. Okay, that you can't just go in, dry practically. So we went to the Parks and Rec Commission meeting yesterday, and there was a motion put in place to set aside a small committee to help us with, to get us together, the coaches and the Parks and Recs director together in one room, and hopefully compromise again. But we're at the point in time where we can't compromise. We've already compromised 80% of our schedule, right? And the 20% are practically a dire need for us to have a successful season. So, yeah, that's all I got, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
How you doing? My name is William Hunter. I live on Belfour, in between Ecorse and Philomene, and the road in front of my house is absolutely horrible. I've brought you pictures.
If you would give those to the clerk, please.
The road looks like it's still one of the original asphalt roads. They're absolutely horrible. I have a bungalow, and we get woken up every night. People going down the street, you hear them. God forbid it's garbage night, and you get the junk collectors coming through, and you hear rattle, rattle, boom all night in the house, shakes the house. It's, I don't even know how kids ride bikes across this. One of the neighbors has almost a 5.5-inch drop off in his driveway. Somebody that doesn't come to his house on a regular basis, the whole neighborhood knows when they do because they bottom out pulling into his driveway. He was going to come tonight, but he had to work a little bit later. I asked him to come to the next one. But, take a look at the pictures, drive down our street, and it's only from alley to alley. maybe a 8 or 9 house stretch. And Belfour was done on the other side of E-Course. I believe it was done from Philomene to Pinecrest. But our section has been skipped over numerous times, and you can see how bad this road is. For us to be able to hear it in our houses, our kids, riding bikes on it, I see them fall all the time. It's gonna, be something bad. And I mean, you can look at it. It's 2 or 3 layers deep, and every year all we get is quick patch. So.
Mr. Hunter, if I could ask you, there should be a sheet of paper up there. If you
Yes.
could complete that and hand it back. Give it to Mike.
Okay.
That way someone knows how to reach you.
Okay. Yes, E-Course to Philomene. Today's the 27th?
26.
26th.
If there are any other additional comments you care to make?
Nope, that'll be it.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Zach Shalat. I live on Eureka Road. Lived in Allen Park my whole life. I played hockey my whole life, and I'm an assistant coach with Drew. We're here today for a resolution for the issue he just spoke of. One thing I want to touch on, though, is the youth of Allen Park. When I was a kid, my parents didn't know anything about hockey. They took us down to Champaign Park. There used to be an inline roller hockey league that we all played in. From there, we graduated to the novice program. I've been volunteering with the novice program for the past 4 years because it's so special to me. After the novice program, I graduated to the Allen Park Hockey Association, the Huskies. After playing for the Huskies, I played hockey my whole life. Played after high school. I played for the Allen Park High School, and it's been the best part of my life. I've made connections that I've kept till this day. Now I'm a realtor. I've sold so many houses in Allen Park, down Park Avenue, all 2 houses simply because of hockey. Another house right off of Belmont, Park in Belmont, because of hockey. All the friends that you make, they last a lifetime. And my fear is that the kids of this generation aren't getting the same opportunity that we had when I was a kid. There's no inline rink. Allen Park doesn't get any priority at the rink. There are, I used to work at the rink, by the way, so I am as Allen Park gets. And it's just a shame to me that my brother's kids that are now in the novice program don't have the same opportunities that we had when we were a kid. So I'm here today because we just coached the summer season, and one thing that I stressed was second and third efforts is what it takes to win a battle in the corner. That's like hockey talk for winning the puck, And we're here as the second and third battle. We were at the meeting last night, and we're here tonight as the third battle. We're hoping to help you guys understand this is a big issue for us. We want the kids to succeed. I heard a parent yesterday talk about how COVID affected their senior son. They haven't had a full season, and it just breaks my heart that we're in this situation. And the last point I want to make is the community is going to benefit from Allen Park Hockey Association coming back. When, Johnny comes to practice on the weekdays, they can go to the new gym that just opened up on Allen Road. When they have games on the weekends, grandmas can come in town, then they go out to eat at Ted's and Tim's and the Glass Onion, and then they're going to say, oh, I just broke my stick. I need to go to Park Athletic to get a new stick like I used to do. So I'm at Allen Parker my whole life, and I believe in Allen Park, but right now we're not supporting what I love most, and that's hockey. And I just want to bring awareness to that, and I hope you guys take it seriously and then make adjustments so that someone who's in charge is an Allen Parker, number one, and number two, understands the importance of youth hockey in our recreation center. That's all I have. Thank you.
Good evening, Matt Grant. Live on Kolb Avenue. Similar to Drew and Zach, been born and raised in Allen Park. born and raised out of the Allen Park Community Center as well in the ice rink. Just want to touch a little bit more on the same issue that they were up here talking about. They just started coaching high school hockey here in the city. I've been doing it since 2013, both at Allen Park High School and Cabrini High School. More recently, I was the head coach at Cabrini from 2019 to 2021. Took a year off from coaching for a couple of different reasons, and then got back into it with Drew this year. One of those reasons was a professional career. The other one was that it got to be a lot dealing with administrative headaches, such as the one that Drew was up here talking about a minute ago. They're here, and I'm here to get support from the city. I never, in all the years that I've been coaching, thought I'd have to stand up at city meetings on back-to-back nights asking for practice time for a varsity sport. But we're in that situation. If we don't do something, a couple of things are going to happen. One, and really the reason why I'm here, is that our job is to advocate for the student athletes at Allen Park High School. And if we continue to go down the path that we've been going down for the last 3 or 4 years, I'll talk more about that in a minute. Ultimately, the kids are the ones that are going to suffer. They're not going to be given the right opportunity to compete and participate in high school hockey the way that other schools will. I believe personally that the root cause to all this is really just incorrect priorities of the individual that's responsible for scheduling ice out of the community center. There was a day and time where coaches would sit down with the administration at the community center and negotiate and compromise like adults and come up with solutions in the room over the course of a couple hours on a night in July, just like tonight. Somewhere along the way, that stopped happening, and from that point on, they have scheduled 8 or 9 private groups or teams ahead of the Allen Park High School student athletes this year. And the most egregious, I believe, being that some of the same ice times that were used last year were just given away to private travel teams without any call, email, or conversation to anyone on the coaching staff, or I believe that the administration at the high school. I believe that that's wrong. It's a shame as not just a coach and someone that gets paid very little money to coach high school hockey, as a taxpayer to the city for the last several years, to see my tax dollars. I want them to go to the rink. I want them to go to the community center, but then to see that turned around and given to kids outside the city, coaches outside the city, instead of the student athletes that go to school there, it is really, really a shame. And if someone does not step in and help the Parks and Rec director change his priorities of how he divvies up that ice, a couple of things can happen. Number one, as Drew said, the alternative is that we don't practice on consecutive days leading up to competition. Parents are going to bring that up as a safety issue. Any other varsity coach that would stand here in front of you would say that there's no way that they can't practice days leading up to a game. The other option is that we have kids get up at 4:30 in the morning and go to the rink and practice before anyone else gets in there. That was proposed by the Parks and Rec director. There's a number of reasons why that won't work, and I won't get into them today. The other alternative that he proposed was we skate from 10 to 11:30 at night on a Monday and Tuesday on a school night. That also doesn't work for obvious reasons. The third alternative that he proposed in writing to us in an email was that we seek practice time outside of the city at another rink. To me, that's embarrassing for him to even suggest that, for us to entertain that. But I will tell you, as the head coach of Cabrini High School in 2020, I had to go do that same thing for this exact same reason. That we didn't have enough ice time at Allen Park that worked for the school. He would not make accommodations for us, and I had to skate 1 or 2 days a week at Lincoln Park and explain to other people in the city why we were doing that. We have to go down that road if nothing is done. In my opinion, and again, this is my opinion, from what I've seen over the last 6 to 8 weeks and the communication back and forth with the Parks and Rec director, like Drew said, we've compromised on 80% of our practice schedule. It's not ideal, but we need to make something happen. If someone doesn't step in and redirect his priorities, we're gonna have to seek one of those other alternatives. And again, it's not gonna hurt me personally, but it's gonna hurt the student athletes. And again, we're here today really just to advocate for them and to give them a fair shot at a successful season. That's all I have, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Dennis Hayes, Quant Avenue. It's a hard act to follow. You guys did a great, compelling job making your case. I can only assume that there's some profit motive that the Parks and Rec director, whoever that may be at this stage, may be able to lease the ice to somebody for more money. If there isn't, then it's really an irrational call. So I hope this council will look into that. But I wasn't aware of this problem. I came here to mention a couple things. One, and I did call the Public Works Department. I spoke to Emily the other day, and I'm sure she'll get to it. You know, I walk in the morning, and I've been away for months, but recently I've been here for the last month or so. I take a walk, and I go down Moore, and right past Manor, my old street, between Manor and Wick, there is this huge sycamore tree. Beautiful tree, really. I mean, it must be that big around. But the branches are growing practically out of the ground, and it blocks, I mean, I can get by it. It's not like I'm getting hit in the head by a branch or anything, but there's limbs all over, and I thought, my God, this tree ought to be pruned and properly maintained, because you can see the top of it is starving for fluid and nutrients, whereas the bottom's green and lush and everything else. That's just bad, arbor management, if you will. So I'm sure that she'll get around. In fact, the other day I was driving down Moore, the day after I called, and I see the truck with the chipper and I go, oh boy, I must just still have some impact in this city. They're going to fix my tree. And then when I came back from wherever I was, I noticed that they had driven right by. But hopefully they'll get there soon. But the primary reason I came, it's on Moore, just past Manor, going towards Wick on the left-hand side. I don't know, north, south, whatever. South side, I guess it would be.
It's
East
about
side.
a sycamore.
Yeah, it's a giant sycamore. And actually, there's a couple in the front yard of that corner house, too, and they probably need some help. But if you drive around, most of the trees need to be pruned up. It's a line of sight problem. It's a potential hazard for people walking, bumping into it and stuff like that. But the main reason I came, when I was away this summer out in Arizona, I follow some of the happenings in Allen Park, and I noticed the decision was made to cancel Miss Kibbe's contract, and I was actually flabbergasted when I read that. I found it to be totally beyond my comprehension, because in my experience, in the 10 years or so I knew her, I thought she always acquitted herself very, very professionally. She's a highly credentialed woman in the field of, urban planning and, stuff like that. And what troubled me, I don't really have a problem. I suppose it's your prerogative as the appointing authority, but when the DDA board supports her 100%, what gives you some higher rationale to make that decision? I mean, is it a secret hearing that you had somewhere or what? And if you do have some compelling rationale, I would have hoped that evening, I watched the meeting, and 4 of you voted against her and 3 voted for her. I would have hoped there would have been some discussion. This is the reason. And I know you probably want to throw out that old red herring about, well, it's a personnel matter, we can't discuss it and all that nonsense. You can discuss it, and you should discuss it. That's what transparency is about. She stood here and discussed her performance, and I think she argued a very powerful case for her success in her tenure. But for whatever reason, you hit the ball with whatever knowledge you have that compels you to decide not to have her contract continue. And I think that's really unfortunate, because I think we lost a good person. Now, the citizens are going to be watching. They're going to be watching to see who you choose to replace her. And if it's one of the old friends and family, like we've done so often in this city, I think you're going to see some outcry. So be wary of that, because we've seen this happen too many times. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, Mark Bailey, Philomene Boulevard. First, I want to discuss the Philomene Boulevard between Park Avenue and heading towards Lincoln Park. It's referred to as Philomene Avenue. It is a boulevard, and it starts tomorrow. We got the note on the doors yesterday about vehicles and all that, so it's going to be a cluster fudge for a bit. We'll see what happens on that. So I think that takes care of that. I'm not as fluent as these previous people. I feel for the hockey teams. I have my oldest son was a hockey player, and my youngest son was not, and I'm not. I chose another activity. And Mr. Hayes discussing Jennifer Kibbe, and I didn't bring my work. I couldn't. I was in Tennessee. She's helped me for her entire stay here, for helping me with Halloween, hosting hundreds of special needs kids in the Elks Club, and the activities that we have outside. And I think it's become a tradition after 34 years. She's been helping me on that. She also has helped me with, I took it under my wings to decorate Park Avenue. Labor-free for, well, I've been doing it since Park Avenue's been there. And she made my job a whole lot easier. So I feel a little deflated for what happened with her. There's more things I can say about her. It was all good. And I don't need a parade permit for October. We'll talk about that later. So we won't discuss that. And Philomene Boulevard, my license says Philomene Boulevard. My bills, my Edison bills say Philomene Boulevard. Are we shrinking Philomene to an avenue? I think there's a difference in widths too. So I don't know. I'm not an engineer. I'm a shoe guy. So that's, I think, all I have to say. I love your city and good luck with you. And thank you, Dennis. And thank you, everybody.
Good evening, Nancy Nick, Pinecrest Avenue. As I'm sitting here, I wasn't going to speak tonight, but I had to come up after listening to these gentlemen about the hockey. This is not the first time the Parks and Director has caused programs to leave our city. I worked there for 5 years. I heard program after program leave our city. Many of them didn't come to you and tell you, and I wish they had. Not too long ago, I was up here for Creative Characters. We lost a dance company. We lost a theater company. We lost the teaching children how to cook classes. So it saddens me to sit here and look at these gentlemen and think we're going to lose another program. So I beg you, and you know some of the things that have been happening there, to look back. And I think it's time that we let the Parks and Rec Director go. You appointed him, you can unappoint him. Let Rob Fulton, let Kyle Carr start running the Parks and Recs. They're citizens here in our city. They have more invested in our city. And I just beg you to finally do something so we don't lose any more programs.
no one else is coming up, we will close the public comments portion of tonight's meeting.
Through the chair.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, sitting here through public comments, oftentimes we get some very difficult issues. Mr. Hunter, I assure you that that's something that Mr. KB had taken notes on. We're going to look into it. It's not an easy fixes, but we'll look into Mr. Hayes, sycamore tree. Also, not an easy issue, but something that will get taken care of. But sometimes something comes up, and there is a solution to it. And as Ms. Nick so passionately put out, we have a problem in this city that one of our department heads has consistently undermined relationships with other community organizations to the detriment of the city itself and its citizens. Considering that and the passionate words that we've heard from our coaches, from our members of our community, and to Mr. Hayes' point, my dad's looking down when I say this. I agree with him that there's no rational reason for it. There is no profit motive. It is a rational decision, and considering all of that, I think that I would make a motion that we terminate Pat Hawkins as Allen Park's Park and Rec Director.
I have a motion to terminate Mr. Patrick Hawkins as Parks and Recreation Director. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Valerius. Questions or comments?
Mayor, if I could?
Yes.
So I think that there's some things that, for people that are watching at home and might think that this is abrupt, this is something that has been going on within our city for a number of years, as Ms. Nick pointed to, who Ms. Nick also worked there. And this is something that we've heard from past employees, current employees, and there's two emails that I think are really important to bring up that give insight into this. One was after Ms. Nick got up, after we lost the Creative Characters program, she mentioned that we had lost programs, and so I reached out to the AD at Cabrini High and asked why is it that they chose to leave. They lost their coach, which we know tonight that one of the reasons why they lost their coach is because of Mr. Hawkins' behavior. But after they left and they were going to Riverview, he said this. On a side note, the coach quit and another was hired, but the contingency stood. Within 24 hours of advising Allen Park Ice Arena of the decision, I received a call stating all of our equipment had been removed, loaded on trucks, and was delivered to Cabrini. His words, personally, I felt it was a slap in the face because I had, or I thought I had, a working relationship with the staff there. So there we have Cabrini High School's athletic director running a major program within the city of Allen Park, not just hockey, but softball, baseball. We have a Olympian who was a Cabrini alum softball player there, and he has detrimented that relationship. And more recently, as of late May, I received an email from the athletic director for Allen Park High School, Mr. Dawson. This is after the decision was made to renovate the baseball diamonds. Says, I spoke to Director Hawkins on April 26th to notify him that the baseball/softball diamonds that the district leases from the city would need to be turned over to the construction management team on June 12th. Upon learning this, Pat had a meltdown, stating he was, quote, enraged and, again, quote, pissed off. He quickly relayed to me that he, nor his department, would no longer cooperate with the school district going forward. And I think that last line is really important as we sit here tonight and we consider this motion, because I think when you look at it, there is no rational explanation if you just look at it from the basic facts. But when we look at it from a standpoint that you have an individual that is upset specifically with the Allen Park Public Schools and Allen Park Athletics, that he was no longer going to cooperate with them, it makes a lot more sense that Mr. Graves would not get a phone call prior to scheduling those other teams. And this is something, again, we saw with Creative Characters, with locking them out of the Wi-Fi, with making them pay for copies for materials they needed for their programs. This is something that has gone on since I have sat in this seat, and I say today that I've had enough. I yield.
Mr. Blount.
only thing I would add for, I think we need to say who, like, if it steps down or what termination stuff, that we need someone who will take, like, for, who will assist, like, after.
Who's going to run the program? And I think that I speak for, you know, I've had conversations with Mr. Kibbe. I think that everybody up here at this table has absolute faith in Mr. Fulton and Mr. Carr. I think that they've done an exceptional job. I've heard, unfortunately, since the commission made their decision last night that they were going to try to get a committee together to solve this problem. And I've heard, you know, Mr. Hawkins has basically said that he doesn't want to budge on that. I feel very confident that Mr. Fulton has the knowledge, the skill, the ability to do this, and if tasked with it, I'm sure that he would find a solution to the problem of giving our kids who are sitting in that back row back there a place to skate, which is what we're looking for.
Through the mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to know, where is Pat Hawkins to defend himself? I know we heard this through you, through all them, and I believe all that stuff, I really do. But isn't there some kind of trial before you fire somebody? I don't know, I'm asking. I need an answer. Lawyer, Mr. Joe. I mean, you can't just fire somebody, the man's not even here. I mean, I don't know. I know he doesn't do any good. I know he did hurt Mr. Nix did bad on creative theories. I used to like that creative characters, and I used to go to and see them quite a bit. And when that happened, that kind of upset me a little bit. But as far as the hockey, I know hockey. I don't know nothing about hockey until my son started playing hockey. I was living here at the hockey arena. I remember you kids were little when you guys were playing there. So, yeah, you got a point. But the man needs to be here to face the music before we fire him. That's my opinion. I yield.
Mr. Schlatter.
Well, I will say that I've talked to my colleagues about this, and I have looked at evidence, and I've heard many things since the time I ran about prior behavior before I was an elected official. And I took that in, and I said, okay, well, I got to see it from my own eyes and hear it from my own ears. And in the time I've been here, I've heard, I've seen with my own eyes and with my own ears. And then I got this today. It's the organizational chart that goes into our budget folder. And the reason I bring that up is at the very, very top is Allen Park, the city. The city, the citizens elected us to do a job. It is up to us as council people to determine what to do. And then you see below that is council, as I said, and below that is the administrators. Now we have to look at all the facts ahead of us and determine. This isn't a corporate decision where you can give someone's court. This is our decision of what we feel like is the best for our children and our residents. And I've come to the conclusion after hearing time and time again of issues that have come up that have destroyed programs, have hurt potential employees and made them on the work environment to be not the most pleasant place to work in. We have to consider all these factors. And when it impacts program after program in a city with an outstanding high school that continues to strive, as we have seen with our cheerleading team and softball team, what's next? Are we going to keep tearing down these programs left and right and tear down we need to grow. And sometimes, as I said before with Ms. Kibbe, change is good. And yes, not all change is seen on the forefront and not all change is addressed directly. But you have to, as we're the citizens that you elected us to see, You have to realize that we do things with the evidence in front of us, and we don't just randomly make decisions and say, hey, this sounds great, let's just do it. I didn't do that with Jennifer Kibbe, and I wouldn't do it with Mr. Hawkins either. So whatever decision is made, I feel that as a city council person, as the elected official that is elected to support the decisions and be the voice of the citizens, that is what I will do. And with the evidence brought forward, that's how I will make my decision. Thank you.
Are there any further?
I just wanted to, again, thank you for coming forward. Like I said, I guarantee, like you mentioned, coming in front of two different groups and talking about something as first-year coach, this isn't something you should have to deal with. Your focus is on a program. Your focus is on getting the kids ready for a season. And the last thing you should be worried about is getting the ice time that your high school students, athletes deserve to get. I've coached hockey. I play hockey. Currently playing beer league hockey. I know the ice times I get when I play on my leagues. They're horrible times. That's because the rinks that I play at have given the prime time to the teams that matter the most, and that's your local high school hockey teams. So preference should always be given. You mentioned it, it'd be an embarrassment to have Allen Park High School hockey team practice in Lincoln Park or Southgate when we have a home rink. So in that sense, I apologize that you've had to deal with this because, again, your focus should be on one thing and one thing only, and that's getting your program up and running without having to worry about the BS related with ice times and stuff like that, especially when they're given to outside organizations and groups where primarily they don't even live here in Allen Park. So with that, I yield.
Before I call for a vote, I will make a comment. I attended last night's Parks and Recreation Commission meeting, and I heard from a number of individuals who spoke here tonight, and in addition from some of the parents. I also heard a number of the commission members express the same opinion, that they were embarrassed by what happened. One individual had spent their weekend trying to work on a schedule and make things right. They were so concerned that they indicated that they would form a subcommittee to address the issues, call a meeting with all of the parties involved, and work on rescheduling. I, like others, have heard it from more than one individual that it was made very clear that there would not be cooperation in that regard. As Mr. Schlack pointed out, this is not something that has occurred just this year or the past year, but there have been issues that have been ongoing. Conversely, I will say that we do appreciate all the fine work that Mr. Hawkins did when we came out of receivership, and the fact that the community center and all of our programs had deteriorated extensively under a private company that let everything go to hell in a handbasket, so to speak. And I commend him for that. I commend him for the grants and the work he's done on the parks, because nothing is a single line. There are many facets to every individual. But key is the fact that we are a community, and part of the community is to have good working relationships with the people in your community and the schools in your community and the organizations in your community, and to care about them and to prioritize them and to make sure that your children and your residents are the first ones served, and that you do everything in your power to ensure that. And that has been something that has been degrading for several years, and it will continue to degrade because of the behaviors that we have observed, and dare I say, the attitudes that have been expressed. And with that, I will call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion has carried. We'll now move on to the consent agenda. On tonight's consent agenda, we have purchasing actions of claims and accounts and payroll report, and a license for a parade permit for the Allen Park High School Homecoming Parade to be held on Friday, September 30th from 4 p.m., and it will start at the Allen Park Middle School.
Motion, Mayor.
Motion by Mr. Lally.
Support.
Supported by Mr. Blevins. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion has carried. We move on to our resolutions. First resolution is to authorize the purchase of the foreclosed commercial property at 6834 Park Avenue from the Wayne County Treasurer at a cost of $14,523.26 on behalf of the Allen Park DDA. May I have a motion?
Motion, Mayor.
Motion by Mr. Lloyd,
Second.
second by Mr. Schlack. Questions or comments?
If you could.
That's fine. I'll give a brief update here. So this request here is involving the Wayne County Treasurer's tax foreclosure right of first refusal. So what happens in this process is the properties are tax foreclosed, and the city has the right to acquire those before they go to the city, before they go to the county auction. In this case, there's one property at 6834 Park Avenue. It's formerly Flowers on the Avenue. Benedict Flowers from, if you go back even further than that. That is on the list there to be acquired, available to be acquired by the city. The DDA, we've had a conversation with them. They are interested in acquiring that property to either improve the building to find a suitable use or an eventual buyer. I think there was some mention of maybe an incubator type business, anything that would be a major improvement to the neighboring area and adjoining businesses as well. The cost of the acquisition would be $14,523.26. And I put a note in here because the letter that I sent included in there had some different dates. But the county, I think, realized the error of their ways. They wanted everything submitted to them by tomorrow, I believe it was. And they extended it to August 8th with the money due the 15th. So it allows us to get through the council meeting, allows the DDA to also be able to take their action if they make sure this is a two-pronged approach here. We need to prove it, and the DDA will need to prove it as well. So I'm just asking for the authorization to purchase that tax foreclosed property, 6834 Park Avenue, from the Wayne County Treasurer at a cost of $14,523.26 on behalf of the Allen Park DDA.
Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. That's carried. Second resolution is to amend the Made in Michigan street closure on Allen Road between Southfield and Roosevelt from 5 p.m. on Thursday, September 22nd, to 7 p.m. on Sunday, September 25th, and approve the city to sell beer and wine. May I have a motion?
Motion, Mayor.
Motion by Mr. Valerius,
Second.
second by Mr. Lally.
For this item, the council, you did approve this back in, I believe it was March of this year with a couple other road closures and touch a truck. The additional change here is that the DDA Administrative Assistant Lauren Bielek has asked that we go earlier to Thursday night because of the tent set up for the event. And then I believe there was also a change to make it to 7 p.m. on Sunday, so it clears off the whole weekend. Administration has no problem with that, and that's why we're making a recommendation. We do want to make sure we go back and explain again and emphasize the one item which was number 4 and the previous approval back in March, that the Made in Michigan Festival will be relocated from Allen Road to another venue site in the event that does not meet the expectation that they'll be able to fill the entire roadway. We've had a number of discussions on that. We cannot just close from Philomene to Southfield Allen Road. We need to close Allen Road from Roosevelt, Ecorse, Allen, all the way along. We need to make sure that whole stretch. If not, then we need to look at another location. It could be Park Avenue, it could be White Street with the recreation parking lot, a couple different options on that.
Questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We have a resolution to approve the Downriver Utility Wastewater Authority resolution on American Rescue Plan funding. And that is a joint effort by the 13 communities that are part of DUA that own the wastewater treatment facility in Wyandotte. You want to do that, or?
I make a motion, Mayor.
That's right. Mr. Lally,
Now support.
supported by Mr. Blevins.
This one here is, again, this is using the ARPA funds. So Wayne County has received multi-million dollars on that two-story. I think it was $346 million, if I'm not mistaken, that they have to distribute back to the communities for eligible projects. This would meet an eligibility project through the for DUA with those ARPA funds, and I think that what DUA is looking for is just a support to be able to approach them. I would hope that there's no match. I know there was a discussion at one time that Wayne County was looking for a 50-50 match. I think because it benefits 13 communities, I would hope that they would waive that and contribute the entire amount for the project.
And I can add to that, that any match would not come from the individual communities. The match would come from the DUA Association. But failure to get the ARPA funding, this project will cost almost $8 million, and it will eventually impact everyone in the 13 communities. Questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, motion is carried. Next, we have a resolution to concur with the Festivities Commission and approve the expenditures for the 3 flock cameras for the police department. Motion, please.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Lally.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Valerius.
Mayor, Council, this item here was festivities that back at their June 16th meeting approved the purchase of 3 flock cameras for the cost of $8,500 for installation and monitoring. And it also included renewal for the 3 cameras for an additional 3 years, so a 4-year program. They're going to cover that additional $2,500 for each camera for each year for the 3 cameras. And then the city, the Festivities Commission authorized the chief to be able to pick those locations for the flock cameras. Chief, I'm going to ask if he can just give a real brief explanation of what the flock cameras are.
Sure. First of all, they're amazing technology, better known as license plate readers, but they really do more than that. They run every plate, check it against our law enforcement information network, our lien system, so we know if someone's wanted for homicide, for bank robbery, for kidnapping, stolen car, stolen license plate. So it's a force multiplier. It's a detective tool to be able to track people down after crimes get committed. We're hoping it helps prevent some crime. So we work really hard, and we wake up in the morning, want to make sure our trucks are there and our garages aren't broken into, things like that. A lot of times when people commit those crimes, they'll steal a vehicle or steal a plate, or they can take their plate off. It's a good chance you drive through Allen Park without a license plate, you're going to get stopped by one of our officers. What it doesn't do is take pictures of drivers or mail like tickets or anything like that. It helps us with that. So when Cadillac converters are stolen, it allows us to go back and try and track that information. So it can tell us it's a blue Toyota with a bumper sticker missing a license plate. So even if they take it or alter their license plate. So they're, yeah, like we said, $2,500 a piece, one time $300 like your cell phone to turn it on. So they're buying 3 cameras. The DDA's looking at it, as well as Mr. Strobel and some of the hotel owners. So we could have anywhere from 8 to 9 of them here real quick, which would be phenomenal.
And I do recall that 2 of our newly sworn-in police officers at the last council meeting had experience with these cameras.
Yeah, they caught a
from where
bank
they
robber from
came.
Alabama just because they drove through the city, and there's been people for a lot of different crimes that have been stopped. So it's an officer safety issue. It's a citizen safety issue. It's phenomenal. We'll talk about it more at community events down the road.
Thank you.
Real quick, Chief, so just to be clear, this only takes pictures of the vehicle and the license plate, correct?
Correct. It doesn't, it traps that data for 30 days. So, some communities don't want anybody to know this. I'd rather it be a deterrent and we be out front, transparent. Come in Allen Park, there's a good chance you're gonna get arrested if you commit crimes here. But it does allow us to go back and say, during this time frame, we had this crime, pull up the vehicles, hopefully get a plate. It also has technology to track if one car, a lot of times people case things, with banks and things like that. So if it's driven by and it catches two vehicles at the same time and 3 different cameras, it lets it track that. So they might take the plate off to go rob the bank or steal a vehicle, but chances are they drove through before, so we can track that as well. But yeah, it doesn't take pictures of the drivers. It doesn't mail tickets, which is illegal in Michigan. We're not trying to be Big Brother, but it definitely will give us information that can help us hopefully prevent and follow up afterwards. Good detective leads.
Thanks, Chief.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Chief.
Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next resolution is to approve the amended IGA with Wayne County for improvements to Gingerbread Tot Lot and revise Resolution 22-022-038 to combine the 2021-22 allotment with the 2022-23 allotment and extend the 2021-2022 allotment for an additional 2 years.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Schlack,
Second.
second by Mr. Valerius. Someone will explain to us what this is all about.
I'm just gonna repeat everything again. You know,
Okay.
Hear me say that. So, basically, the IGA is the intergovernmental agreement that we have with Wayne County for the park program. We get that money from the Parks Millage. In this case, it's gonna be used for Gingerbread Tot Lot, which is on Morris, at the far north end, Morris and Harlow, if I believe correctly. And this is just helps administratively, so the money won't be recaptured by Wayne County, and we can get the projects done. I believe what's happening here in Wayne County Parks is the same thing we're running into with Wayne County CDBG, Community Development Block Grant, is it's taking longer for equipment to be delivered. It's, we have the supply chain issues are still an issue when it comes to some of the park equipment and things like that. And I think that's really causing them some issues and delays, and this is gonna help rectify that situation, make sure the money's still out there before it's not recaptured back by Wayne County. So beneficial for us.
So just for the residents, it's gonna kind of mirror what Briar Rabbit Park is, or the
Yeah,
equipment?
that's the goal. I'm not too sure what the equipment's gonna look like at Gingerbread, but it'll continue with the safety tile system that we have now at Humpty Dumpty at Arlington and Lawrence. We have a Briar Rabbit, which is Chatham and Melbourne.
Yep.
And then we also have it getting installed, being delayed right now
Sure.
because of delay issues until late August at Kennedy Park by Rogers Elementary in the north end.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is passed. Resolution number 6 is to approve the Parks and Recs quote received from Joe's Carpet Service in the amount of $17,930 for flooring at the Allen Park Community Center. Motion.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Blevins. Second by Mr. Lally.
I'm going to yield to Deputy Mr. Fulton there, Deputy Director Fulton, to answer more questions because I'm not too sure all the details.
Good evening. The community center, there's 7 multi-purpose rooms, A through G. In the center, when you go down the main hallway, the rooms to the right were replaced back in 2017, the flooring. It's a vinyl flooring. It's similar to what you would see in little fancier ballrooms. The left side is the original tile. We've stripped it, we've done everything we can to polish it, wax it, bring it back to ballroom look from the original 21 years ago. Unfortunately, though, it's kind of outlasted its life. It got to the point we did 3 bids. Joe's Carpet came in just above $9,000 less than the other 2 bids. We've had Joe's Carpet do the showmobile. They redid that this past winter. So we've got a good relationship, a trusting relationship, and the price is with $9,000 to our positive, with warranties all around it as well. It's just the right thing to do. It needs to be done. It was I believe it was in the 5-year capital. that was already approved. Couldn't tell you what year, Mark could speak better to that, but it's just time. We can't keep cleaning it. We're throwing good money at bad stuff, so, with that being said, we'll have to lock down, probably the end of August, the first week of September, due to the fact that they have to do it in stages. They'll also do, with the approval of your vote tonight, they'll also do the main offices. There's 3 offices and a common area, small kitchenette, and then the common areas where the upfront staff sits and supports the public. So that being said, those will be carpeted tiles. So if we do have an issue with one of them, we're not replacing 25 feet of a run. Also, it'll get rid of the 2 stripes of duct tape we have currently on the seams that have been trip hazards for probably about a good 1.5 or 2 years. And that's God's honest truth about the duct tape. It was the only way to secure the stuff so we didn't trip. And Miss Nick probably realizes that from her history as there too. So I'm not trying to sell you to it, I'm just trying to be thorough. So I didn't have to pick Nancy up before, but we're good. Yeah. So,
Thank you.
any questions?
Hey, Robert, are they gonna take the old tiles off?
Yes, complete strip of the whole thing. It's not a layer, we're not laying over the top like you would think of a roof maybe. Yeah, no, this is a total complete taking it right out.
That's pretty good price for that.
Very good. Now we just have to make sure we uphold the fact that their labor and everything is good too. That's why we have warranties. So, yeah, we should be good.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution 7 is to authorize the Allen Park Historical Commission and Beautification Commission to use the Allen Park Theater parking lot for a fundraiser during the Allen Park Street Fair. Motion.
Motion, Mayor.
Motion
Support.
by
Matthew.
Matthew. There was an echo coming from here. Second by Mr. Flack.
Council, this request here is to authorize the Beautification Commission and the Historical Commission to utilize the Allen Park Theater parking lot for the street fair parking. Previous years, I believe, I thought I heard Ms. Nick say about $1,800 was generated, which went into the Historical Fund. This time, they're going to share the services and split those proceeds. They're going to share the work as well. That was I appreciate that compromise on both halves of the historical and the beautification, as opposed to trying to do a drawing and one be a winner and the other one not. So they'll both benefit, both back to their funds. In the case of the historical, it'll go to their,
Escrow?
their escrow fund. Thank you, their escrow fund. So it will not be used for paying the bills of the maintenance, or the exterior maintenance, things like that. It'll be used for their projects. And I believe the beautification will be using them to, as they do their plaques and their awards, as you've seen that coming up in the previous year, those fundraisers, this will help that activities there, so.
Any questions?
What's the parking, how much per car?
$5. That's what it was last year also.
It was a good deal last year.
So no increase.
No.
So no inflation on this. It's a pretty good deal. You could have gotten by $56.
Yeah, I think I would also comment that Ms. Nick mentioned in our work session that that was $1,800, and it was, the fair was not what it usually is. They didn't have as many attendees, and so the expectation is this year that there will probably be a pretty full lot and support it. Question?
Just comment. Last year I did see they did a fantastic job working it, making sure per day, like different colors. So like this is for Friday, this one's for Saturday, and I mentioned at the historical one that to make sure they have a sign that says this will be closed, the gates, so that the historical and beautification aren't there until 2 in the morning, waiting for every car to get out and all that stuff. So to have a sign up for that, so that same for anything like that. But no, they did a fantastic job last year, and I just wanted to make a comment on that.
Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now move on to council comments, and this evening, get on the right column. Mr. Lloyd starts.
So I just want to say thank you for everybody coming out tonight and speaking your mind. I think that on behalf of Councilman Marcos, who isn't here, this is what makes this work. I think I go back to comments I made when I first ran for this position, is that what takes a city and makes it into a community, it's the connections and the relationships that you have in the city. To the point that Zach was making, and I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name, Zach, I'm so sorry. Shalat. Is that he still has those relationships today. And I'm taking you guys all played hockey together and we're on the ice together and you had those relationships. And that is why having a Parks and Rec department that has the ability to build those connections and maintain those relationships is so crucial to who we are as a city. Because there's something peculiar about Allen Park that even in, Clerk Mizzy has pointed this out to me, people will move away for 5-10 years, they'll go to Chicago, but they come back. Those gentlemen in the back, all right, they might have big dreams of getting out of here, but they'll be back, all right? Because this is where their connections are. This is where they've, on that ice, right over there, they've sweat, they've bled, and they've done it together. And that is what takes a city and makes it into a community. And so I'm very appreciative of our coaches who put so much of their time, their energy, and their talents into giving those kids that experience and to helping them create better members of our community. So thank you. It is very much appreciated.
Thank you. Mr. Valerius.
Echoing the words of my fellow councilman and teacher, Dan Lloyd, thank you, everyone, for coming out and speaking. Again, listening to the residents is what we are here for. I try to stay away from social media as much as I possibly can. And, we make decisions, as Mr. Schlack said, based on things. We don't just come here in 10 minutes and make decisions. These are big decisions. These are tough decisions that we make. I've been a resident for 22 years in Allen Park, and I love the city, and I love everything related to the city itself. My decision to run for council was based on that, and only that. It's nothing for my personal gain. I'm a high-paid teacher, okay, and then I work a summer job at Greenfield Village, so I'm rolling in the dough. So I do it because I love where I live. I love the people of Allen Park. I love people like the coaches who dedicate so much of their time and energy to mold student athletes into being better overall people, not necessarily just better hockey players, but people, because that's what team sports do. It's not just about them becoming better hockey players. It's about them becoming better people and adults. And I've seen it firsthand as a coach, as a father, as a teacher. So again, I thank you for everyone coming and talking and speaking their mind, even from Mr. Hunter with the streets to Dennis Hayes, who is always a voice for Allen Park, to everyone who comes to these council meetings and takes the time to listen to what's going on in their hometown, okay, related to city government and these issues that we try to address to the very best as we can. So, again, I just wanted to thank you for that, and with that, I yield.
Thank you. Mr. Schlack.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank everyone who came up and spoke their piece about what happened, what went down, and I echo my colleagues what they have said about their feeling. And as I said earlier, no decision is made by just willy-nilly. I mean, I firmly believe that no one up here is just doing that at the seam of their pants. It's never easy, these decisions, regardless of the outcome, because we realize the full gravity. I truly believe we also realize the full gravity of the outcome of these decisions. And with these decisions that we make, we don't know what's going to happen next. We don't. But I feel that when we make these decisions, and one, ran for office, all of us, that we did it because we looked at what we wanted best for the community. That's why I moved to Allen Park. I knew about the school system. Granted, I live in Melvindale, Northern Allen Park, which I didn't know was a separate school system at that point, but that's a big part of our community. We're not north, south of Allen Park. We are one Allen Park, and we up here have to do what's best for the citizens. And when I look again, I say this organizational chart, when I look at it and see the city above everyone, and every citizen is above everyone, even us up here. It was you, the citizens, that elected us to make decisions. Now, you may not like our decisions, and that is part of the process. You can debate and talk back and forth, and that's what we are here for. But we have to look at the organizations and the ecosystems within our communities and what makes us strong. May it be hockey, may it be creative characters, may it be anything else you can imagine under the sun that is in our great city. But to become a great city and continue to be a great city, change has to happen. And with that, I yield.
Thank you. Mr. Blevins.
Well, first off, with the cameras that we approved, I'm glad that the chief said that it doesn't take pictures of the driver, because I would love for them to see me singing down the road and to like Lady Gaga and stuff. But anyways, first off, thank you to all those who came out and spoke. I'm glad to see Mr. Hayes. It just reminds me back in the days, the regulars that used to come to the meetings all those years. Mr. Bailey, I can't wait to get help with the pumpkins and the events coming up on Park Avenue. To our taxpayers, thank you again to approving that, the proposal for our roads. This is why, so we can get these roads fixed and done. Because it needs to get done. I go to other cities and the way how they do their roads and stuff, so big difference, let's say that. I hope everyone goes out and supports the street fair, the festivities committee, the amount of work they do to make this all come together, 40 years. It's just great job to that commission. Please make sure to go out and vote. It's one of your rights. Also, keep on supporting local. I just went to the new coffee shop on Allen. I'm just gonna say Yemeni coffee. I would not pronounce the first part.
Yemeni.
Yes. Just had that today. Fantastic people. Great coffee and stuff. But again, those, I really hope they succeed, just like on the Parks flower shop. That was 30 years in business. It's like those types of things, keeping the community together. Again, a community center. The community should be part of the community center and not go somewhere else. So with that, I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of July and stay positive, and I yield. Thank you.
Mr. Lally.
Well, I want to thank everyone that came tonight. Sorry about the situation that you guys had to go through. I didn't know about this probably about, I don't know, 6 hours ago. So that was hard for me to make a yes or no answer. But I did what I had to do, whatever I think it felt in my heart. Because I remember the creative characters, I bet they got treated, so I think you guys shouldn't be treated that way. Because Allen Park Jags matters. And you guys do a good job. And thank you very much for doing the job that you keep doing for the kids. They need it bad, especially nowadays. I want to thank Mr. Hayes for coming up here after you went to Arizona and come back. Pretty good. I wish I had that. And I want to thank all the people that spoke up. And definitely don't forget what Councilman Blevins says. This street fair is coming up. They do work hard. Now I'm in it a little bit. I helped out now a little bit. And I tell you what, that's a lot of work. They had to stripe all the the sidewalks and the middle of the street. It's very good. So, without that, I can't forget because Charlie says, I gotta mention about the steak cookout. The steak cookout is tomorrow in the Knights of Columbus. Gets a nice 16-ounce sirloin New York strip with all the dressing. I think Mr. Grant knows about it. He came quite a bit, but I haven't seen him in a while. Maybe you should start coming again. And thank you very much, and thank you for everybody that spoke tonight, because the more people speak, the more we take care of business. As a matter of fact, Allen Park is the best place around here, the best in Down River area. Don't forget, nothing is bad here. Everybody's going to like to move to Allen Park because of the schools and everything else that we got going here. Shop Allen Park. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Tony. Mr. Mizzy.
All right. Remember, I'm the clerk, so I don't have a vote, so I'm very neutral here. But I'm going to ask you to vote on August 2nd. There's been a lot of people that have been disenfranchised with voting. So we've heard a lot of people say, I'm so tired of politicians, but people who are still go vote August 2nd. There's a Wayne County jail millage on there. It's up to you what you want to do on the ballot. So if you don't want to vote for a candidate and just want to vote for the millage, you can. So I just want to remind people that we still have time to get an absentee ballot if you haven't already. Excuse me, and that the clerk's office will be open this Saturday, 9 to 3 for absentee voting, and Sunday, 12 to 2 for absentee voting. So, and with that, thank you all for coming out. God bless you and good night.
Thank you, Mike. We've already been reminded about the street fair. I do have an announcement to make related to that. On Saturday, August 6th at 3 p.m., there will be a ceremony at the Pocket Park dedicating the park to the memory of Bob Stites. Bob was a retired police officer, elected city council in 2019. His term on city council was all too brief due to his untimely passing. But his impact on the city of Allen Park will remain in our memories for a long time. This dedication is in recognition of and appreciation for the many years he tirelessly worked as a volunteer at the street fair, Made in Michigan, and other events. And this is being done by this Festivities Commission in recognition of that. He was a mainstay. If you were in Allen Park for a year, 10 years, 20 years, you saw Bob, and Bob made things happen, and Bob was the guy they relied on, and Bob was a major loss in many, many ways to this community. So I hope you are able to attend on Saturday. Again, that's at 3 p.m., and they will be dedicating the park to his memory. Funny thought crossed my mind as I was watching TV the other night. It seems as though we just ended the school year and they're already advertising for back-to-school items. So summer is flying. Let's make the best of it, enjoy the rest of it. The only comment I will make is I will piggyback on some of the comments made here. Nobody on this council has any hidden agendas. They don't owe anyone any favors. Speaking for myself, anyone who knows me knows that you may have supported me, but you did not do it because you expected me to do something for you, because that is the last thing I would ever do. There are no favorites. When I ran because I wanted to make sure that we did the right thing for the right reasons and for no other reason, for no one in particular, except for the community. And as I look around this council, I can tell you that my interaction with every one of these individuals has proven that they are of the same thought process. Nobody is getting any favoritism. Any decisions are well thought out. They are not done because of something that happened in the last day, the last week, or the last month. They are based on years of observation and paying attention to what is going on in the community. They are based on attending meetings and listening. And with that, I will call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Blevins, second by Mr. Lally. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We are adjourned at 7:20.